Violent Night movie spoiler: the film opens in Bristol, England, on Christmas Eve. The important Kris Kringle, David Harbour, is in a very saloon drinking the night away before he gets back to delivering presents. He speaks to a close-by mall Santa who is happy to try and do his job. However, recent Saint Nick has become jaded and enlightened with the holiday, as individuals solely take care of gifts and have become additional and more naughty. Simply before leaving, Santa leaves a gift for the bartender's grandson, who is confused on however he is aware of regarding him. She follows him to the upside to admonish him, thinking he's simply another drunk, solely to appear up at the sky and see Santa riding away in his sleigh, forced by his reindeer. Even as the barkeep admires the actual fact that Santa is real, he barfs over the aspect of the sleigh that lands on her face. In Connecticut, mythical being Lightstone, Alex Hassel, is meeting his unloved adult female Linda, Alexis Louder, and their girl Trudy, Leah Brady. Whereas the two folks attempt to create the vacation nice for Trudy, they're hunting a rough patch. The three head to Jason's family's mansion, as the Lightstones are unbelievably wealthy. His mother, Gertrude, Beverly D'Angelo, is associate abrasive corporate executive of her company, whereas mythical being's sister Alva, Eddie Patterson, is desperate for his or her mother to note her since she thinks Jason is Gertrude's favorite child. She is joined by her simple actor Swain Morgansteel, Cam Gigande, and her objectionable young son Bert, Alexander Elliott. Santa goes through Christmas with extreme disdain, dropping off stuff like cash in stockings and different useless gadgets and gizmos. He fare the cookies and milk overlooked for him however conjointly helps himself to other people's alcohol. Once he gets to the Lightstone house, he uses their massage chair. Mythical being and Linda conceive to let Trudy open one gift early, a combine of walkie-talkies. Once they leave her room, they take in her speaking on that as if she were lecture Santa, locution that her one want for Christmas is that her folks retreat to together. Jason and Linda have appearance of regret on their faces. A team of mercenaries motility as employees initiates their setup once one amongst the mercs, Cake, Andre Erickson, knocks out the top of security. The leader, Scrooge, John Leguizamo, kills the person at the front gate before coming into the Lightstone house and misestimation up his different mercs to carry the family hostage. Per hoarder, Gertrude had hoarded $300 million that was meant to be distributed to the Center East, and therefore the cash is in a very vault somewhere within the house. Santa overhears the gunshot and tries to urge out of there, however he's found by a goon known as Tinsel, Fong Zhang. He attempts to beat Santa down, but he rises and fights back. The gunfire from Tinsel's weapon causes the caribou to get spooked, associated fly off, going Santa stranded. Within the succeeding struggle, Santa and Tinsel fall out a window, however whereas Santa is okay, Tinsel is impaled on an icicle. Since he doesn't have enough Christmas magic to urge him out of there, Santa goes to the front gate and finds the operator dead. Trudy then speaks on the walkie-talkie, as Santa picked up the opposite one in a trial to require help. Once she asks for his help, Santa decides to stay around. Another merc, Frosty, Canadian, comes across Santa when he makes it back into the house. They interact, during an associate exceedingly, in a very, additional brutal fight, with Frosty making an attempt to stab Santa. However, Santa is ready to use his magic bag of gifts to defend himself, though he's unable to as if by magic pull out a helpful weapon. Santa grabs the star from the Christmas tree and jams it into Frosty's eye, then plugs it into an outlet in order that the star electrocutes Frosty and sets his head on fire. Once Hoarder tries to visualize him together with his mercs, Santa answers Frosty's walkie and informs Hoarder that Frosty is dead, and therefore the remainder of them can be before long as well. Hoarder sends his guys to look for Santa, whereas conjointly taunting the Lightstones. He has his henchwoman Candy, Mitra Suri, torture mythical being by breaking one amongst his fingers employing a nutcracker, then tries to use a much bigger nutcracker for its additional literal purpose. Before they will hurt Jason further, Trudy steps in to yell at the villains, claiming Santa is there to assist them, till Jason tells her there's no such factor as Santa, which folks place Christmas gifts underneath trees and say they're from him. Trudy runs away crying and hides within the attic, whereas the goons follow her. She talks to Santa once more on the walkie-talkie, and he proves he's the important deal by telling the assorted gifts she had asked for over the years, restoring her religion in the man. Once she mentions the dangerous guys Santa appearance at his naughty list and sees all their names on there while reaffirming to Trudy that she has perpetually been on the great list. Horder continues to mess with the family by having the adults provide Gertrude her gifts. Morgan presents a business proposal to boost his career that Gertrude clearly has zero interest in, whereas Alva provides her a framed image of the day she was born, which Gertrude conjointly shows very little care for. They then grab Jason's gift, which could be a bottle of hard drink and a note that he doesn't need Gertrude to see. She reads it, on the other hand, says no matter it is on that will keep between the two of them. Santa finds Candy and tries to knock her out, just for a toy Santa to activate and blow his cover. She alerts Scrooge, who goes with Cake to find Santa, who is underneath the attic. The villains knock him out and tie him up, tight to understand who he very is. Santa then drops the villains' real names. Scrooge is Jimmy, Cake is Bjorn, Candy is Kyra, and therefore the things they asked for once they were kids. Horder reveals his hate for Christmas as a result of his family couldn't afford to celebrate it once his father got set off, and he tried to steal presents from a neighbor's house and over up scaring their grandfather, inflicting the person to sink the steps and break his neck. From the attic, Trudy creates a diversion by victimization styrofoam through the vents to make faux snow, in short inflicting the villains to believe Santa and giving him an opportunity to use his magic to shoot himself up the chimney to flee. Morgan tries to escape by jumping out the window. This happens even as Gertrude's extraction team arrives to rescue the family. Unfortunately, Morgan learns they're operating with Horder when the leader, Commander Thorpe, Mike Dopud, orders his men to execute him. Horder talks to Thorpe and warns him regarding Santa, and Santa then sees additional dangerous guys' names pop up on the naughty list, which means he has additional work to do. Whereas Santa is plotting his next move, he talks to Trudy regarding who he wants to be. Centuries earlier, he was a vicious Norse somebody known as Nickamund the Red. And he used his mighty hammer Skullcrusher to demolish his enemies. Whereas he has since tried to abandon his homicidal instincts, Trudy encourages him to place those skills to sensible use. Even as the extraction team begins to storm the house, Santa finds a close-by sledgehammer within the basement and begins to pulverize the goons, and also uses a sharpened Candy as a knife against the villains. Trudy sets up Home Alone galvanized traps underneath the attic even as Cake and Candy follow her. Cake steps through a broken ladder rung, inflicting his chin to be impaled on a nail. Candy tries to urge earlier than him by a cent over him, and he or she manages to check most of Trudy's traps coming, although the lady still hits her with a number of bowling balls. One amongst them rolls out of the attic and hits Gingerbread, causing him to fall ass first onto a bunch of nails. He pulls out a nail, just for a new ball to fall and hit the nail into his skull, killing him. Candy goes for Trudy till Santa arrives and bashes her brains in before saving Trudy. Horder and Thorpe go underneath the house to search out that Gertrude's vault has been emptied out. Enraged, they're going to confront Gertrude and hold Linda at gun muzzle until somebody speaks up. This forces Mythical Being to face up and admit that he scarfed the cash in a trial to form off with Linda and Trudy for a better life and to distance himself from the remainder of his family. That's what he wrote on the note to Gertrude, hoping she would see it following morning before realizing what he did. Once the villains are known as away, collaborator Krampus, Brendan Fletcher, threatens to kill Linda, Alva, or Bert. The three argue over who ought to get shot, leading them to distract Krampus. Therefore Alva will throw wine into the fireside behind him to stun him. The three then bludgeon Krampus till Alva sticks a fireplace poker in his neck. Santa then brings Trudy back to Linda. Scrooge associated Thorpe take Gertrude with them and start to form an escape. Additional goons show up, however the opposite Lightstones fight back. Whereas Santa goes when Horder, Mythical Being and Linda repulse the remaining goons in a very nativity display. When killing the previous few goons, Jason and Linda kiss passionately, that Trudy mirthfully notices. Santa uses a snowmobile to chase after the villains, killing the remaining goons before Sound Thorpe off his snowmobile. Scrooge associated Thorpe take Gertrude with them and start to form an escape. Additional goons show up, however the opposite Lightstones fight back. Whereas Santa goes when Hoarder, Mythical Being and Linda repulse the remaining goons in a very nativity display. When killing the previous few goons, Jason and Linda kiss passionately, that Trudy mirthfully notices. Santa uses a snowmobile to chase after the villains, killing the remaining goons before sound Thorpe off his snowmobile, then going after Hoarder. The two interact in a brutal fight, with Scrooge victimization each weapon he needs to pierce Santa. He then finds the naughty list and sees his name on there, finally convincing him that this very is Santa Claus. Hoarder says that killing him can mean the tip of Christmas, however since Hoarder currently believes this provides Santa enough magic to travel up a close-by chimney, pull Hoarder with him and inflicting his body to urge crushed on the method up, shooting chunks of Hoarder out the top. Even as Santa feels victorious, Thorpe shoots him fourfold and prepares to execute him till Gertrude, who grabbed a nearby gun, puts one in Thorpe's head. The other Lightstones arrive and check out to assist Santa. Mythical Being burns a number of the cash to stay him warm, despite all this protests. It seems like Santa is dying till Trudy tells him she still believes in him and perpetually will. Linda then says she believes as a result of Santa saved their family. And Jason follows. Bert, Gertrude, and Alva all begrudgingly be a part of permitting Santa to be revived. Santa thanks the Lightstones, who come back the gratitude, and he finds the Caribou returning together with his sleigh, alongside the first Skullcrusher, with a note from Mrs. Claus. Santa bids the Lightstones farewell and flies off into the night to continue his Christmas duties. Throughout the credits, Bert makes a TikTok video over a dead Merc's body to let his followers recognize that Santa very will exist. Kris Kringle has become a jaded and misanthropical alcoholic over the previous few centuries when having seen individuals get additional and more naughty, inflicting him to lose his Christmas spirit. He finishes up at the house of the rich Lightstone family, that is being confiscated by mercenaries Diode by a person line himself Mr. Scrooge. He's there to steal a fortune hoarded by the Lightstone matriarch Gertrude. Santa Caribou leave him stranded there. As Trudy father Mythical Being had taken it to form off with Trudy and his unloved adult female Linda, also as distancing himself from his clubby family. The family manages to kill a number of Hoarder goons whereas Santa kills most of the extraction team. Hoarder and Commander Thorpe abduct Gertrude, forcing Santa to chase them. Santa fights Scrooge and uses his Christmas magic to tug him up a chimney, inflicting his body to be crushed on the method up. Thorpe shoots Santa, however Gertrude shoots and kills Thorpe. Santa is dying, but the Lightstones currently believe him, therefore it enough to revive him. Santa and therefore the lightweight stones convey one another because the Caribou come back to require Santa back so he will end his Christmas duties.